Namaste. India has long been associated with the maritime strength with its history of shipbuilding dating back to ancient times. This shipbuilding strength in the ancient times resulted in South and East Indian kingdoms expanding their territories to Far East and also exporting Indian culture and Indian religions, which is visible even today in many of these Far East nations. This influence and maritime power of shipbuilding gradually declined when these kingdoms lost their dominance. Later, by the late 20th century, India became a global leader in shipbreaking, with the Alang Yard in Gujarat emerging as the world's largest facility for dismantling and recycling ships. At its peak, Alang represented strength of India's maritime industry, handling ships from across the globe for scrapping and recycling. However, while Alang once led in shipbreaking, India has not been able to transition into a global shipbuilding powerhouse. In today's episode of Logistically Speaking, join me as I explore the rise of Alang, its eventual decline, and the untapped potential of India to position itself as a leading destination for shipbuilding. Alang, located in Gujarat on the Gulf of Kambad, became the world's largest shipbreaking yard in the 1980s. Its strategic location on the western coast of India, close to major shipping lanes, made it an ideal site for dismantling end-of-life ships. By the late 1990s, Alang was responsible for recycling over half of the world's decommissioned ships, handling everything from oil tankers to container ships. Shipbreaking is a labor-intensive process that involves dismantling vessels and salvaging material like steel, copper, and aluminum. The availability of cheap labor in India made Alang the preferred destination for shipowners looking to dispose of their vessel. At its height, Alang employed over 40,000 workers and was responsible for recycling approximately 7 million metric tons of steel annually. The economic impact was significant, with the yard contributing to India's steel industry and providing raw materials for infrastructure projects. In the late 20th century, Alang accounted for nearly 70% of world's shipbreaking activity. Despite its early success, by the 2000s, however, the yard began to face challenges that would contribute to its decline. Number 1. Environmental and safety concerns. The shipbreaking process is hazardous, often involving toxic material like asbestos, heavy metal, and oil residues. In the early years, environmental regulations were lax and working conditions at Alang were dangerous, with frequent accidents and exposure to harmful substances. As global awareness of environmental issues grew, the pressure to implement safer, more environmentally friendly practices intensified. Many shipowners began seeking alternate destinations with a stricter compliance to international safety and environmental standards. Number 2. Competition from other nations. Countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Turkey began to offer competitive alternatives for shipbreaking, often with lower labor costs and fewer regulatory constraints. By the 2010s, Bangladesh, Chattogram, and Pakistan's Gedani shipbreaking yards had overtaken Alang in volume, luring away clients due to cheaper operating costs and quicker turnaround times. Number 3. Changing global regulations. The adoption of a Hong Kong International Convention for the safe and environmentally sound recycling of ships in 2009 and the Basel Convention placed greater emphasis on environmental and safety standards in shipbreaking. Shipowners increasingly opted for destinations that complied with this international regulation, while India struggled to implement the necessary changes quickly enough. As a result of these challenges, Alang's presence in the global shipbreaking industry diminished. By the 2020s, its output had significantly decreased, with fewer ships arriving for dismantling. While Alang's decline marked the end of an era in Indian maritime history, it also opened up an opportunity for India to pivot from shipbreaking to shipbuilding. Despite being home to one of the largest maritime industries, India has yet to fully capitalize on its potential as a global shipbuilding hub. Several factors have prevented India from rising as a leading shipbuilder. Number one, infrastructure and investment. Building ships require extensive infrastructure from shipyards to specialized equipment. While India has a few established shipyards such as those operated by the Cochin Shipyard Limited and Hindustan Shipyard Limited, they are not on the scale needed to compete with the global leaders like South Korea or China. Shipbuilding also requires a significant upfront investment and the sector has historically been underfunded. Number two, lack of technological expertise. Modern shipbuilding is a highly technical process that involves advanced engineering, precision manufacturing, and the use of cutting-edge technologies like automation and 3D design. India's shipyards, for the most part, lag in these areas, limiting their ability to compete on the global stage. The country needs to invest in developing technological expertise and acquiring modern shipbuilding technologies. Number three, global competition. Countries like South Korea, Japan, and China have long dominated the global shipbuilding industry, accounting for the vast majority of the world's new ship orders. South Korea's Hyundai Heavy Industries, the world's largest shipbuilder, benefit from government subsidies and a robust maritime ecosystem that allows for economies of scale. China's rise in shipbuilding has been fueled by its industrial capacity, low labor costs, and state support. Number four, regulatory and bureaucratic hurdles. India's complex regulatory environment and bureaucratic red tape have been cited as a major barrier to investment in shipbuilding. The process of acquiring permits, clearances, and approval for large-scale industrial projects can be time-consuming and costly. Despite these challenges, India has the potential to become a global shipbuilding destination, and several steps can be taken to mobilize this idea and transform India into a major player in maritime industry. Number one, government support and policy framework. The Indian government has a critical role to play in promoting shipbuilding through targeted policies and incentives. Initiatives like the Make in India campaign and the Sagarmala project, which aims to modernize India's port infrastructure, are steps in the right direction. The government should provide financial incentives, subsidies, and tax benefit to attract investment in shipbuilding. Simplifying regulatory procedures and streamlining approvals would also encourage private sector participation. And number two, private sector involvement. The private sector must be a key player in the development of India's shipbuilding industry. Indian conglomerates like L&T and Reliance have already ventured into shipbuilding, but greater private investment is needed. Collaborations with the global shipbuilders could bring in the necessary expertise and technology. Public-private partnership or PPPs could also be explored to fund large-scale shipbuilding projects. Number three, technological advancement and skill development. Investment in technological advancement is crucial to competing in the global shipbuilding market. India must focus on upgrading its shipyards with a modern machinery, automation, and design capabilities. Skill development programs tailored to shipbuilding will ensure a steady supply of skilled workers. Government and industry collaborations to establish specialized training institutes will foster a workforce capable of handling complex shipbuilding tasks. Number four, international collaborations and exports. India should focus on expanding its ship exports by tapping into international market. Forming partnership with the countries in need of shipbuilding services such as Southeast Asian and African nations could provide opportunity for export growth. These collaborations can also facilitate technology transfers and best practices in shipbuilding. To ensure the success of India's shipbuilding aspiration, the involvement of various stakeholders is essential. The government needs to create an enabling environment through favorable policies, infrastructure investment, and subsidies. Clear, transparent regulations and an efficient bureaucracy will attract investment and build confidence in India's shipbuilding industry. The private sector's role is pivotal in providing capital, expertise, and innovation. Indian companies, along with international players, must collaborate to build a competitive shipbuilding ecosystem. Academic and research institutions can contribute by advancing shipbuilding technology and providing training programs to develop skilled workers. Industry academic collaborations can drive innovation in ship design, material, and manufacturing processes. Ensuring that shipbuilding adheres to high environmental and safety standards will be important to gain international trust and meet global regulations. India's shipbreaking industry, once centered around Alang, showcased the country's maritime strength. However, the decline of Alang presents an opportunity for India to pivot towards shipbuilding, a sector with immense potential. By addressing challenges related to infrastructure, technology and investment, and through the collaborative efforts of the government, private sector and research institutions, India can transform itself into a global shipbuilding hub. With the right mobilization and strategic initiatives, the country has the potential to lead in shipbuilding, ensuring economic growth and global competitiveness in the maritime industry. Well, thank you for watching till the end. See you next week.